The street looks smaller than I remember. The cracked sidewalk I once skipped along as a child is now worn deeper. The paint on the curb faded, as if even time had grown tired of this place. My backpack clings to my shoulder, heavy not with books, but with a strange mixture of hope and dread. I tell myself that maybe this return will be different. Maybe the space I left will still hold my shape. But then I see them. Trash bags. Black, bulging, and tied in tight knots, stacked in a crooked tower against the front porch. My porch, my home, or what used to be. A gust of wind stirs one of the bags, and it topples slightly, revealing the faded blue fabric of my old hoodie, poking through a tear. The sight hits harder than any shouted rejection ever could. My feet freeze at the edge of the walkway. For a long moment, I simply stare, my chest rising and falling like I've run miles when I've only walked a few steps. The front door looms behind the bags, its once welcoming green paint chipped at the edges. I know this door. I know the squeak it makes when opened, the way it sticks on rainy days. I know it the way one knows the lines of their own hand. And yet, in this moment, it feels like the door belongs to a stranger. I drag one bag closer, kneeling down. The plastic crinkles beneath my fingers. Inside, I see fragments of my life carelessly tossed together. My old framed photo with friends. A notebook where I scribbled stories at midnight. The coffee mug I used every morning before leaving for class. Everything smells faintly of dust and lavender detergent, like they tried to clean me out of their lives. Why? The word slips from my mouth before I can stop it. My voice cracks, thin and fragile, in the air. The door opens. For a second, relief floods me. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe someone will laugh and explain it away. But instead, I see him, my brother, tall, shoulders squared, like he's been waiting for me. His eyes don't soften at the sight of me. They harden. "You don't live here anymore," he says. His voice is flat, rehearsed, as if these words have been waiting on his tongue. My throat tightens. "You put my things in trash bags?" "You left," he says, shrugging as though it's that simple. Don't act surprised. I want to argue, to remind him that I left for college, not forever. That I called, texted, begged to stay connected. But all those excuses choke me now, bitter in my mouth. Behind him, I catch a glimpse of movement. Our mother, turning away down the hall. She doesn't come to the door. She doesn't even look back. My chest caves in as though something inside me has cracked. Can I at least? My words tremble. Can I come in for a minute? The silence stretches between us, unbearable. Then he steps forward, blocking the doorway, hand gripping the edge of the door, as if I might force my way through. "No, you don't belong here anymore." The words land like stones. Each syllable bruises, tearing into the softest parts of me. My body wants to flinch, to retreat, but I stand rooted to the spot, staring at the brother who once chased fireflies with me in this very yard. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't waver. When I don't move, he sighs and pushes the door shut. The lock clicks a sharp, final sound. It echoes through my bones. I stay there, staring at the wood, my reflection faintly visible in the glass panel. The porch light hums overhead, buzzing in the quiet night. I can almost imagine the warmth of the house still seeping through the walls, the familiar scent of home-cooked meals drifting out of the kitchen. But I know I will never step inside again. The silence presses down until it's unbearable. Slowly, I sink onto the porch step, my hands trembling against my knees. The air is cool, but sweat gathers at my temples, a strange fever of grief and disbelief. I try to remember the last time I felt like I belonged here. Was it during the summer before college, when I still laughed at the dinner table? Or earlier, when I was too young to notice the cracks forming between us? The memories blur, slipping like sand through my fingers. A neighbor walks past on the opposite sidewalk. Their eyes flicker toward me, lingering on the trash bags, then dart away. They don't stop. They don't ask. Shame crawls hot across my skin. My phone buzzes in my pocket. For a heartbeat, hope flares. It could be a message from someone inside, an apology, a mistake undone. But it's only a classmate, reminding me about an upcoming assignment. The world outside hasn't stopped just because mine has. I wipe at my face, surprised to find it wet. Tears I hadn't noticed spill freely, blurring the world into shapes and shadows. My breath hitches, catching in my throat as though the air itself doesn't want to enter my lungs. The bags sit heavy beside me, silent witnesses to my unraveling. Every object inside them once carried meaning, once belonged in a place called home. Now they are just things exiled like me. I whisper into the night, not for anyone else but myself. Where do I go now? The street doesn't answer. The house doesn't open. The stars above blink, distant and cold. After what feels like hours, I stand. My legs shake as if I've carried a weight too heavy to bear. One by one, I drag the bags down the steps, the plastic scraping against the concrete. Each step feels like a severed tie, a farewell I never agreed to. I pause at the gate. Turning back, I look at the house one last time. The windows glow faintly, warm and golden, hiding the people inside who no longer claim me. I press the image into my mind, not because I want to keep it, but because I need to remember. This is the night everything changed. This is the night the locks closed on me. The streetlight flickers overhead as I begin walking. The bags bump and rattle behind me, the sound oddly like laughter in the quiet street, mocking me. My chest aches with every breath, but I force myself to move forward. Somewhere deep inside, buried beneath the hurt, a thought flickers. Maybe family isn't always blood. Maybe home isn't where you're born, but where you're loved. The thought is faint, fragile, but it keeps my feet moving. And as I disappear into the night, carrying my life in plastic bags, I have no idea that this ending is only the beginning of another story, a story I never expected to live. The rain falls harder now, stitching the night into a blur of silver threads. My clothes cling to me, soaked through, the plastic bags dragging behind me on the wet pavement. Each step feels heavier, as though the water itself has conspired to hold me in place. People pass by hunched figures darting beneath awnings, shielding themselves with umbrellas, hurrying toward homes that wait with warmth and light. None of them look at me. I might as well be invisible, a ghost carrying the remnants of a life in sagging trash bags. I tilt my face toward the sky, letting the rain strike my skin. It's cold, relentless, but at least it washes away the tears I don't want anyone to see. My chest tightens with each breath, the silence of rejection still echoing like a locked door behind me. Then dash suddenly, there's shade above me, not from a tree or a building, but from something closer, softer. I glance up, startled, and see the fabric of an umbrella stretched wide over my head. The raindrops patter against it, sharp but muted, as though the storm itself has softened for me. And then I see them. A stranger stands beside me, holding the umbrella aloft with one hand. Their other hand is tucked into the pocket of a dark coat, rain sliding down the fabric in rivulets. Their face is calm, illuminated by the yellow glow of a nearby street lamp. Their eyes deep, steady meet mine, and for the first time all night, I don't feel entirely alone. "You're going to drown out here," they say softly, their voice carrying warmth even through the rain. I blink, unsure whether to laugh or cry. My voice trembles when I finally manage, "I think it's too late for that." Their lips curve into the faintest smile. Maybe not. For a moment, we just stand there, the storm raging around us, while the umbrella creates a fragile little haven. I'm painfully aware of how small this gesture is. Just a patch of shelter. But it feels like the kindest thing anyone has done for me in years. You don't have an umbrella? I ask, gesturing to how their shoulders are already damp from the rain. They shrug. I only need one. You looked like you needed it more. The words lodge in my chest, simple but piercing. I'm not used to being seen like this, exposed, vulnerable. And yet, they don't look at me with pity. Their gaze is steady, patient, almost safe. I shift awkwardly, the bags rustling at my side. I don't really have anywhere to go. The confession slips out before I can stop it, raw and unpolished. They glance down at the bags, then back at me. Then at least let me walk with you. No one should wander alone in weather like this. Something inside me wants to protest, to insist I'm fine, that I don't need anyone. But the truth presses too heavily. I nod. Okay. We walk in silence for a while, the umbrella balanced carefully between us. The rhythm of the rain fills the spaces our words can't. My hand brushes against theirs once, accidentally, and I draw back quickly, my heart stumbling in my chest. They don't comment, but I catch the faintest flicker of a smile at the corner of their lips. Finally, they speak. What's your name? I hesitate. Saying it feels strangely intimate, like it makes me real again. It's Alex. Alex. They repeat it as though testing the sound, and somehow my name feels different on their tongue, lighter, warmer. I'm Jordan. The name settles between us, unfamiliar yet comforting. We pause beneath a flickering streetlight. The rain cascades around the edges of the umbrella, forming a shimmering curtain. I realize how close we're standing, close enough to see the raindrops clinging to Jordan's eyelashes, close enough to hear the steady rhythm of their breath. You look like you've had a rough night, Jordan says gently, not prying but inviting. I swallow hard. My throat aches from everything I haven't said. You could say that. They tilt their head, eyes kind but searching. Sometimes, talking makes it easier. The words hang there, tempting, dangerous. I want to spill everything: the betrayal, the slammed door, the way home turned into exile. But my voice cracks when I finally say, they don't want me anymore. Jordan's expression doesn't falter. If anything, their gaze softens further. Then they don't know what they've lost. The certainty in their tone startles me. I glance away, staring at the rain pooling in the gutters. My chest aches with the weight of both grief and something else, something fragile and new, like hope trying to bloom in the cracks. We walk again, this time slower. The streets are nearly empty now, the storm keeping everyone else indoors. But under the umbrella, it feels like the world has narrowed to just the two of us. Suspended in this moment. At one point, Jordan shifts the umbrella slightly, so it shields me more than them. The rain soaks their sleeve, but they don't seem to care. The gesture makes my throat tighten. You didn't have to stop, I murmur. Most people wouldn't. Most people don't notice, Jordan replies. But I did. I look at them, then really look. There's no pity in their eyes, no judgment. Just presence. Just kindness. And it feels like a lifeline I didn't know I needed. We reach the edge of a small park, its benches slick with rain. Jordan pauses, studying me carefully. Do you have somewhere safe to stay tonight? The question slices through me. I glance at the bags again, at the empty street stretching into the dark. My silence is answer enough. Jordan exhales and nods as if making a decision. Come on, my place isn't far. It's small, but it's warm. You can dry off, get some rest. My heart stutters. The rational part of me whispers caution. You don't know this person. You shouldn't trust so quickly. But another part, louder, insists that this might be the only light left in the storm. You don't even know me, I whisper. Jordan's gaze meets mine, steady and unwavering. Sometimes that doesn't matter. Sometimes it's enough to know someone needs kindness. The words strike deep, unraveling the last of my resistance. My voice is quiet, almost childlike. Okay, Jordan smiles not wide, but soft, reassuring. They adjust the umbrella, tilting it toward me once more, and together we step off the sidewalk. The bags drag behind me, heavy but lighter somehow, as though the weight is shared now. The rain doesn't let up, but for the first time all night, it doesn't feel unbearable. With every step, something shifts inside me. A fragile thread connects me to this stranger, a thread woven of compassion and rain and silence. I don't know where this road will lead. I only know that tonight, in the middle of the storm, I am not walking alone. The stairwell creaks as we climb, water dripping from our clothes in uneven trails across the cracked tiles. The building smells faintly of rain-soaked concrete and someone's dinner 2 floors down garlic, maybe onions. Each step feels like trespassing into a world I'm not sure I belong in. Jordan walks ahead, steady, the umbrella now folded and dripping at their side. Their coat clings damp to their shoulders, but they don't complain. Every few steps, they glance back, as though checking I'm still there, as though I might vanish if left unattended. We reach the 3rd floor. Jordan pauses at a faded blue door with peeling paint, digs a key from their pocket, and pushes it open. The hinges squeal, protesting the intrusion, before giving way to reveal a small apartment. "Come in," they say gently, stepping aside. I hesitate. The doorway feels like a threshold, not just into a space, but into something I can't yet name. Still, the warmth that seeps out faint heat from an old radiator, the smell of chamomile pulls me in. I step inside, dragging my bags across the threshold. The apartment is modest. A couch with worn cushions, a coffee table with a chipped corner, a narrow kitchen that smells faintly of tea leaves. A lamp casts a soft amber glow, pushing shadows into corners but leaving the room tender, not harsh. "Here," Jordan says, taking my bags before I can protest. They set them down by the wall, careful not to let them slump like refuse. That small gesture of giving my things dignity strikes deeper than I expect. "You can sit," they add, nodding toward the couch. I lower myself onto it, the cushions sinking slightly under my weight. My wet clothes leave dark marks on the fabric, and guilt pinches me. I'm making a mess. Jordan shakes their head, already moving toward the kitchen. "It's just fabric. It'll dry? Tea?" I nod, unsure of my voice. The kettle whistles minutes later, sharp against the soft hum of rain against the windows. Jordan returns with 2 mismatched mugs, steam curling from the rims. They hand me one, and I wrap my fingers around the ceramic, grateful for its warmth. For a while, silence stretches between us, but it doesn't feel empty. The rain outside is our soundtrack, the occasional groan of the building our percussion. I sip the tea, its floral bitterness grounding me. Jordan finally sits across from me, leaning forward, elbows on their knees. "You don't have to tell me everything," they say quietly. "But you look like you've been carrying something heavy for a long time." The words unravel something in me. I stare at the tea swirling in my cup, reflections of the lamp dancing on its surface. "They didn't even look at me," I whisper. "Not once, just..." Shut the door. Jordan doesn't rush to fill the silence. They let it hang. Let me choose if it becomes a confession or a closed wound. My throat tightens. I thought home would always be there. My voice cracks. But it wasn't. The admission feels dangerous, like exposing skin to cold air. But Jordan doesn't flinch. "I'm sorry," they say simply. Not as a platitude, but as though they've gathered the weight of my grief in their hands and are holding it carefully. Something stirs inside. Mere relief, fear, longing, all tangled. I set the cup down on the table. my hands trembling. I don't even know why I'm here. You don't know me. I could be anyone. Jordan leans back, eyes steady on mine. I know enough. You needed somewhere to breathe. That's reason enough. The words lodge in me like a spark, small but insistent. We lapse back into quiet. I notice the details now. A stack of books by the armchair, spines bent from use. A framed photo on the shelf of Jordan with a dog, their smile easy and unguarded. A plant in the window, leaves drooping but alive. The apartment feels lived in, not polished, not perfect, but real. The storm outside grows louder, wind rattling the glass. I hug my arms around myself, shivering slightly. You're freezing, Jordan says suddenly. They disappear into the bedroom and return with a blanket, soft and worn. Without a word, they drape it over my shoulders. The weight of it is almost unbearable because it's gentle, because it's undeserved. Thank you, I murmur, my throat thick. Their hand lingers for a fraction of a second near my shoulder before retreating. You don't have to thank me. I look up then, meeting their gaze. Something lingers there, unspoken, a quiet offer, not of answers, but of presence. My chest aches with it. We sip our tea in silence again, but the air has shifted. The space between us hums, delicate and charged, like a string pulled taut. Every glance feels longer, every silence deeper. Do you live alone? I ask finally, desperate to anchor myself in something ordinary. Jordan nods. It's quiet, but I don't mind it most days. They smile faintly. Sometimes shadows are easier company than people. The words hit me harder than I expect. I know that feeling, I admit softly. Their eyes linger on mine, as though they hear the layers beneath the words, the loneliness, the betrayals, the walls I've built to survive. The rain softens after a while, turning from relentless to steady. Jordan rises, takes our empty mugs to the sink. When they return, they stand at the edge of the room, hands tucked into their pockets, studying me carefully. You can stay here tonight, they say finally. The couch isn't much, but it's better than outside. Emotion floods me, relief, mixed with a sharp fear of dependence. I want to refuse, to say I'll manage. But the truth presses heavy. I nod, whispering, thank you. Jordan smiles gently. Rest, Alex, you're safe here. The words echo in me. Safe. It's been so long since I felt that way. I hardly remember what it means. As Jordan moves toward the bedroom, I curl beneath the blanket, the fabric smelling faintly of cedar and rain. The couch cradles me, and for the first time in days, my body begins to loosen. But my mind doesn't quiet. I replay Jordan's eyes in the lamplight, the way their voice wrapped around my name, the way kindness seemed effortless from them. My heart stirs uneasily, caught between gratitude and something deeper I don't dare name. I turn toward the window, watching the rain-traced lines down the glass. The shadows in the room lengthen, wrapping me in both comfort and caution. I whisper into the dark, a truth I cannot yet share. I want to believe this could be the beginning of something different. And in the stillness, I hear Jordan's footsteps pause outside their bedroom door, as if they, too, are hesitating on the edge of something. The morning after the storm arrives gently, like a guest reluctant to intrude. Pale light filters through the curtains, turning the room into a wash of muted gold. I wake on the couch, cocooned beneath the blanket Jordan gave me. The smell of coffee drifts from the kitchen, mingling with the faint trace of cedar still lingering in the fabric. For a moment, I let myself believe this is normal, that waking in warmth, in safety, is something I deserve. But the memory of slammed doors and silence presses in quickly, shattering the illusion. My chest tightens, my body already bracing for the reminder that this is temporary. You're awake. Jordan's voice comes softly, like they don't want to startle me. I lift my head to see them leaning against the kitchen doorway, a mug in hand, hair slightly tousled, the morning light catching the edges of their face. Something about the scene looks like a painting casual, yet quietly breathtaking. I sit up, the blanket falling into my lap. Sorry, I didn't mean to oversleep. Jordan shakes their head, a faint smile tugging at their lips. You needed it. There's no apology in that. They cross the room, set the mug on the table in front of me. Steam curls upward, carrying the scent of coffee. I wasn't sure how you take it, so... Black. But there's sugar if you want. The simple thoughtfulness makes my throat ache. I wrap my hands around the mug, letting the heat seep into my palms. This is perfect. We sip in silence. The air between us feels heavier than yesterday, though not suffocating more like a string drawn taut. Humming with something unspoken. Jordan settles onto the armchair across from me, watching with quiet attentiveness. Their eyes linger too long, and every time they look away, I find myself wishing they hadn't. I try to fill the air with something light. Do you always wake up this early? Old habit, they reply, stretching one arm behind their head. When you live alone, the mornings get louder somehow. You start listening to them. I smile faintly, though the words twist inside me. Loneliness, yes. I know that language well. Jordan tilts their head, studying me. You don't talk much about yourself. I tense, staring into the coffee's dark surface. There's not much to say. Their silence invites me, not demands. And yet the words stay locked, my fear pulling tight around them. Instead, I shift the focus. Your apartment feels safe. Jordan's smile is small, but genuine. That's all I ever wanted it to be. A place that doesn't ask for anything. Something in me cracks at that. Because isn't that what I've been aching for? A place without conditions. A presence that doesn't measure love in debts, that the day passes slowly, gently. We linger in the same space, each moment braided with unspoken threads. In the afternoon, the rain returns, tapping against the windows like fingers on glass. Jordan pulls out an old deck of cards. Do you play? Not well. That makes two of us. We spread the cards on the table, laughter slipping through when one of us fumbles. At one point, I reach for the deck at the same time Jordan does, and our hands brush. The contact is fleeting, but it sets fire to my skin. I pull back quickly, pretending to study the cards, but my heartbeat betrays me. Jordan doesn't mention it, though their eyes soften as if they noticed the tremor in mine. Later, we cook dinner together, if you can call it cooking. Pasta from a box, sauce from a jar. Yet in the act of chopping, stirring, and sharing the same cramped kitchen, something deeper simmers. Careful, Jordan says when I nearly drop the knife. Their hand covers mine briefly, steadying. Warmth floods through the simple touch, and for one dangerous second, I don't want them to let go. When we sit down to eat, the dim lamp paints their face in gold and shadow. Conversation drifts easily, but every pause feels charged, like silence itself is speaking truths neither of us dares to dot by evening. The rain eases, leaving the city damp and shining under the streetlights. We sit by the window, watching droplets glisten on the glass. Jordan leans back, their shoulder brushing mine. Neither of us moves away. The quiet stretches. My chest aches with everything I want to say, but can't. How safe I feel. How terrified that safety might vanish. How their presence makes the air feel less heavy, less lonely. Instead, I whisper, do you ever wonder what people leave unsaid? Jordan turns, their gaze steady, searching. All the time. Sometimes silence tells you more than words ever could. The answer sinks deep, as if they've reached inside me and named my fear. I laugh softly, though it trembles. What if the silence is too loud? Jordan's voice drops lower, gentler. Then maybe it's not silence anymore. Maybe it's something waiting to be spoken. Our eyes lock, and in that moment, the room falls away. It's just us, the rain's echo, the flicker of lamplight, the inches between. I feel the pull, the dangerous gravity of it, but fear claws at me. The memory of being cast out, of doors shutting in my face, of belonging ripped away. My voice barely makes it past the knot in my throat. I don't know if I can trust what this feels like. Jordan's expression softens, but they don't push. Then don't trust the feeling yet. Just let it exist. The words are a lifeline permission to breathe in this fragile closeness without demanding I name it. Hours pass in that delicate balance. Gestures speaking more than language. Jordan handing me a blanket when the night grows cold. Our laughter bouncing against the walls over nothing. The way our knees brush and linger. The silence between us grows thicker. Not oppressive, but alive. Carrying everything we can't yet confess. I wonder if Jordan hears it too, the language of unspoken things. As night deepens, we prepare to sleep again. Me on the couch, them retreating to their room. But before Jordan disappears, they pause in the doorway, their silhouette framed by the glow of the lamp. Alex? Their voice is low, almost hesitant. I lift my head. Yeah? Jordan's lips part as if to say something, but then they stop. A faint smile, heavy with everything unsaid, flickers across their face. Good night. The door closes gently, and I am left staring into the shadows. Heart pounding. Because in their hesitation, I heard it, the words neither of us dared speak, waiting just beneath the silence. The storm returns as if it had been waiting for us. By nightfall, the sky splits open, rain hammering against the windows with relentless urgency. The apartment feels too small for the weight pressing in on me, too filled with the things I can't bring myself to say. I pace the living room, restless, while Jordan sits by the lamp, pretending to read, but glancing at me every few moments. Finally, I stop, blurting out without thought, "Can we go up?" Jordan lowers the book. Up? The rooftop. I gesture vaguely toward the ceiling. I need air. Their brow furrows, but instead of questioning, they set the book aside and stand. Grab a jacket. It'll be cold. Minutes later, we step onto the building's rooftop. The door creaks open, and the storm greets us with open arms. Rain pelts down hard, drenching us instantly, the city below blurred by sheets of water and flickering lights. The wind whips my hair across my face, but for the first time in weeks, I feel like I can breathe. The chaos outside matches the one within, and in some strange way, it soothes me. Jordan laughs under the storm, tilting their head back, arms wide. You're insane, you know that? Probably, I answer, my voice nearly swallowed by the rain. But I'm smiling, really smiling, and the realization stuns me. We wander toward the edge, where the low wall frames the city like a painting drenched in silver. Thunder rumbles, shaking the air, and I wrap my arms around myself. Jordan steps closer, pulling off their jacket despite the downpour. Don't, I protest. You'll freeze, they counter, draping it over my shoulders before I can resist. Their hand lingers a second too long, brushing my arm. Heat floods me, even in the storm's chill. For a moment, neither of us speaks. The only sound is the rain, steady and unrelenting, like the world's heartbeat. Then Jordan breaks the silence. You always carry something heavy, they say quietly, watching me. Like your chest is a locked box you don't let anyone open. The words cut sharp and gentle all at once. My throat tightens. I should deflect, make a joke, turn away. But up here, under the storm, pretending feels impossible. I was told once, I begin, voice shaking, that I didn't belong. By the people who were supposed to love me most. They threw me out like I was nothing. And the worst part? My eyes sting with more than rain. I believe them. Jordan's gaze doesn't waver. Water runs down their face, but their eyes burn through it. You're not nothing, Alex. The words are simple, but they land with the weight of a promise. My lips part, but no sound comes. The storm fills the silence for me, roaring in agreement. Jordan steps closer, close enough that the heat of their body cuts through the cold. I know what it feels like to carry that kind of hurt. To be left behind. I blink, startled. You? They nod, a shadow flickering across their features. My father walked out when I was 12. No note, no goodbye. Just gone. For years, I kept asking myself what I did wrong. What made me easy to leave? Their voice cracks on the last word, and my chest tightens. In that moment, I don't see just the steady, kind stranger who gave me shelter. I see the cracks, the scars that mirror my own. Without thinking, I reach for their hand. Rain runs between our fingers, but they don't pull away. They squeeze back, grounding me like lightning finding earth. The storm rages on, but up here, we've built a pocket of stillness. I dream sometimes, I confess, words tumbling out before fear can silence them. That I'll find a place where I'm wanted, where I don't have to prove my worth to stay. Jordan's thumb brushes across my knuckles, tender, almost reverent. Maybe the dream isn't as far as you think. My breath catches. The air feels electric, charged with something beyond thunder. We talk for hours, or maybe minutes. I lose sense of time. About the things we never told anyone else. Jordan admits the nights when loneliness felt unbearable, when silence was too loud. I confess the nights I stood outside locked doors, praying someone would open them. Each confession falls like rain, heavy, cleansing, unafraid. At one point, Jordan laughs softly, shaking their head. This is ridiculous. Who stands in a storm pouring their soul out? People who don't know how to do it any other way, I whisper. And then we're both laughing, too loudly, too freely, like the storm has washed away the weight we carried. But beneath the laughter, something deeper hums. Every glance lasts too long. Every pause aches with possibility. The space between us narrows until I can feel the warmth of their breath mingling with the cool rain. I search their face, every line, every shadow. My heart pounds so hard, I'm certain they can hear it. Jordan leans in just slightly, just enough for the world to tilt. Their voice comes rough, low. Alex. My name on their lips feels like lightning striking, raw and blinding. But fear claws back, sharp and insistent. I step away suddenly, the spell shattering. I can't. The words hang broken between us. Jordan freezes, hurt flickering across their face, before they mask it with careful restraint. Okay, they say softly, though the disappointment lingers in their tone. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. No. My voice trembles. Don't apologize. It's just, I'm not ready to lose something I haven't even had yet. Jordan studies me, eyes searching, but they don't push further. Instead, they nod once, slowly, as if sealing the moment in silence. The storm begins to ease, the rain softening to a drizzle. The rooftop feels changed, charged, like we left pieces of ourselves out here in the storm. That we stand side by side, hands brushing but not clasping, gazes turned toward the glittering city. Finally, Jordan speaks again, voice quiet but steady. When you are ready, I'll still be here. The words nearly undo me. My chest aches with both longing and terror. The drizzle turns into mist, a soft veil across the skyline. The city breathes around us, alive and infinite. I turn to look at Jordan, wanting to say something, anything. Thank you. Don't leave. I need you. But the words choke, swallowed by fear. Instead, I memorize the way they look in this moment, the damp hair falling over their forehead, the steady line of their jaw, the eyes that carry storms and solace both. And in the silence that stretches between us, I realize the truth. I am falling, no matter how much I try to resist. The morning after the storm feels too quiet. The rooftop, which only last night echoed with laughter and confessions, now sits beneath a pale, washed-out sky. The rain has left behind silver puddles, trembling with every breeze. The protagonist, Lena, sits on the edge of her small kitchen table, cradling a chipped mug of tea. Her fingers trace the rim again and again, as if trying to find rhythm in the silence. Her eyes drift toward the phone on the counter. It lies face down, yet she can feel it buzzing with a phantom weight. She doesn't want to look, doesn't want to know, but then it rings loud, abrupt, shattering the hush of the morning. Lena startles, tea spilling across her wrist. She swears softly, sets the mug aside, and with hesitant fingers turns the phone over. The name glows across the screen, stark and undeniable. Armin. The name tastes like iron in her mouth, metallic and sharp. Memories crash into her, whispered promises under lamplight, the warmth of his hand, then the silence of betrayal. The night he left, leaving only echoes of explanations that weren't enough. Her thumb hovers. She could let it ring. She should, but the sound digs into her chest until finally she swipes, pressing the phone against her ear. Hello? A voice she once loved more than her own answers, smooth but edged with regret. Lena, it's me. Her throat tightens. Why are you calling? I heard you've been different, happier. I wanted to see you. A pause. I made mistakes, but I can make it right. The kitchen spins. She grips the counter to steady herself. You don't get to say that, Armin. Not after everything. Before he can answer, a knock sounds at the door. A gentle, unassuming knock, but to Lena, it feels like the universe demanding she choose between past and present. She hangs up without goodbye. Her heart hammers as she opens the door. And there he stands, Adrian, the stranger from the rooftop. The man who held her fears like fragile glass last night, never dropping them, never judging. His eyes soften when they meet hers. Hey, he says quietly. I brought breakfast. Thought you might not have eaten. The smell of warm bread and coffee seeps into the room as he steps inside. But Lena can't stop shaking. You're pale, Adrian says, frowning. What happened? She tries to smile, but it cracks before it forms. Nothing, just... The past doesn't stay buried. Adrian sets the bag on the table and moves closer. Talk to me. Her defenses want to rise, like they always do, but something in his voice steady, certain undoes her. She sinks into a chair, burying her face in her hands. It was Armin, she whispers. He called. He said he wants to make things right. The silence that follows feels endless. Adrian's jaw tightens, but his tone remains calm. And what do you want? Lena looks up, eyes wet, searching his face for answers she doesn't have. I don't know, she admits. I'm scared. Every time I let someone close, it ends with me broken. Adrian kneels in front of her, taking her trembling hands into his. His touch is warm, grounding, as if anchoring her against the storm in her chest. I'm not him, Adrian says firmly. I'm not here to use you, or leave you, or haunt you. I'm here because I see you, all of you, even the parts you think no one can love. Her breath stutters. The sincerity in his eyes is unbearable, because it asks her to believe something she's not sure she can do. But what if you change your mind? She whispers. What if one day you wake up and decide on too much? Adrian squeezes her hands, his voice low, steady. Then that day will never come. Because if I walk away, it won't be because you were too much. It'll be because I wasn't enough. The words sink into her like sunlight breaking through thick clouds. Yet the shadow of Armin's call lingers, wrapping her chest in cold chains. She pulls back slightly, biting her lip. He said he wanted to see me. Adrian's expression flickers, something fierce in his eyes. "And do you?" Lena doesn't answer, because part of her does want to, if only to prove she's stronger now, that he no longer has power over her. But another part trembles at the thought of reopening that door. The kettle whistles on the stove, startling them both. Adrian rises, pours the steaming water, then sets another mug in front of her. He doesn't push. He doesn't demand. He just stays. And maybe that's what breaks her most, the quiet certainty of his presence. When the past always came wrapped in chaos. They sit across from each other, silence heavy but not empty. Finally, Adrian leans forward. "Lena, healing doesn't mean forgetting what hurt you. It means deciding who gets to write the next chapter of your life. Him or you." Her chest aches with the truth of it. She looks down at her tea, the rippling surface reflecting her own conflicted face. "I want it to be me," she whispers. Adrian nods, a soft smile tugging at his lips. "Then let it be." For the first time that morning, a flicker of warmth stirs in her chest. But as she reaches for her mug, her phone buzzes again. Our man. Lena freezes. Adrian watches her carefully, his expression unreadable. The decision sits between them like an unlit candle. Her hand hovers over the phone, trembling. One choice could close the door forever. The other could pull her back into the storm. Her breath shakes, caught between past and present. And then the phone stops ringing. The silence it leaves behind is louder than thunder. Lena closes her eyes, whispering into the stillness, "I don't know if I'm ready." Adrian leans across the table, his voice steady but gentle. "Then let me be ready with you." The words hang in the air, fragile and infinite, as the morning light spills across the room. The evening arrives with a quiet unease. Rain has given way to a crisp, chilly wind, rustling through the city streets below. Lena sits on the edge of the couch, her arms wrapped around herself, tracing circles on the blanket in her lap. Adrian enters the living room, holding 2 mugs of steaming tea. The warm scent fills the space, but it can't reach the cold knot in her chest. He offers the mug with a soft smile. "Here," he says. "Thought you might need this." She takes it silently, nodding but not meeting his eyes. The air between them feels heavier than the winter wind pressing against the window. "Lena." Adrian begins cautiously. "You've been distant all day." "Did I?" She cuts him off, her voice sharper than intended. "Did you what? Did you leave me a note? Ignore me? Or are you just silently judging me from across the room?" Adrian freezes, startled by the edge in her tone. I'm not judging you." Then why does it feel like you are?" Her words tremble with a mixture of hurt and fear. "Like I can't do anything right around you." The silence stretches, heavy and suffocating. Adrian takes a step closer, but Lena stiffens. "You don't understand," she continues. "I've spent my life being thrown out, being told I'm not enough, and now You think I'll leave you too?" He interrupts, his voice soft but firm. She swallows hard, eyes glistening. "I can't stop thinking about it. Every time someone comes close, every time I let myself feel, I wonder if they'll vanish the moment I'm vulnerable." Adrian's jaw tightens, and he reaches out, hesitating. "Lena, I'm not them. I won't leave. I want to believe that," she whispers. "I do. But it's not that simple. It's never that simple." The kettle whistles in the kitchen, a harsh, ironic reminder that life continues while hearts tremble in fear. Adrian places his mug down with care, then leans against the counter. His posture is tense but patient. "You can't keep shutting me out," he says finally. "I'm not here to hurt you, but I can't help you if you don't let me in." Lena's gaze drops to her tea, swirling the dark liquid with trembling fingers. "I'm scared," she admits. "Scared of being abandoned again. Of trusting someone and finding out they were never really there to begin with." Adrian exhales slowly, frustration mingled with tenderness. And I'm scared too, he confesses, his voice low. Scared that if I push too much, you'll run, and I'll lose you before we even have a chance. Her eyes flick up to his, searching, desperate. Then what do we do? What we always do, he says. We try. We talk. We don't assume. We don't let fear dictate our actions. For a moment, the words feel like a lifeline. And yet, doubt gnaws at her. Every word is an echo of the past, a reminder of what it felt like to be unwanted, to be cast aside. She rises abruptly, setting her mug down with a clatter. I can't do this right now. Adrian steps forward instinctively. Lena, I need air, she interrupts, voice trembling with frustration and sorrow. I need space. Before he can respond, she grabs her jacket and storms toward the door. Adrian follows, but she's already opened it, the wind from the street whipping against her hair, pulling at her scarf. Lena, wait. He calls, but she doesn't stop. She steps onto the sidewalk, the night stretching before her, empty and yet somehow suffocating. The city is alive with lights reflecting off slick pavement, cars passing in blurred streaks of white and red. She walks quickly, ignoring the drizzle that has begun again, letting it soak her hair and clothes. It doesn't matter, she feels numb, detached from the warmth Adrian tried to offer. Her thoughts spiral, every hurt, every betrayal, every door slammed in her face. She wonders if this is her pattern letting love begin, then fleeing before it has a chance to bloom. Footsteps approach, tentative but steady. She turns to see Adrian keeping pace beside her. Lena, please, he says. His voice carries across the wet street. Don't run from me. I have to, she says, tears mingling with rain. I can't do this. I'll ruin it. I always do. He stops, searching her face. No, you won't. You're not the same person anymore. You've survived worse. Let me help you. Let me be here. She shakes her head, sobbing. I can't trust that this won't end like before. I can't risk feeling happy and then losing it all again. Adrian reaches for her hand, but she jerks it away, trembling. I can't, not tonight. He steps back, voice cracking with the weight of his own emotion. Lena. But she's already moving again, faster now, weaving through the streets, each step an attempt to outrun fear, to reclaim a sense of control she doesn't have. The drizzle turns into steady rain, and the city becomes a blur of water and neon. She passes under street lamps, the light casting halos around her, yet nothing illuminates the storm within. She stops at a quiet corner, gasping for breath, her chest heaving. The rain soaks her completely, but it doesn't matter. She feels hollow, shattered, the warmth from Adrian's presence, now replaced with aching emptiness. And in the distance, she hears his footsteps again, closer this time, deliberate, refusing to give up. Lena, Adrian calls softly. I'm not leaving. Not now, not ever. But she turns, shaking her head, clutching her jacket tighter, unsure if she's running from him or from herself. Her thoughts scatter. Will this always be her fate? To open her heart, then flee from the very person who could protect it. She looks up at the rain-soaked sky, thunder rumbling faintly, feeling both small and infinite in its immensity. The world continues around her, the cars, the puddles, the wind, but she stands frozen, trembling, the weight of her past pressing against her chest. She doesn't hear Adrian approach, doesn't hear him calling her name again. She only feels the cold and the distance, the fear that love might always slip through her fingers no matter how close it comes. The storm seems endless, yet for the first time, she realizes that the real storm is inside her. The one she carries everywhere, the one that threatens to destroy every chance at happiness if she lets it. Her heart aches as she whispers into the empty streets, I'm not ready. Not yet. The apartment feels hollow. Lena sits by the window, the city lights blurred by rain-streaked glass. It's evening again, though she barely notices the passing hours. She stirs her tea absent-mindedly, staring at the dark streets below, where headlights paint fleeting patterns across the wet pavement. The silence is deafening, and in it, her chest aches as if it's holding the weight of every unspoken word. Adrian hasn't called. He hasn't texted. The past few days have been a stretch of quiet tension. Neither of them has broken. Pride, fear, stubbornness all mingled in a poisonous cocktail that makes each movement, each breath, heavy. Lena wonders if she's made a mistake by leaving the night before, walking into the drizzle with tears streaming down her face. The memory of his eyes, the warmth of his hand when he reached for hers, haunts her. Yet fear had driven her away, and she doesn't know if he can forgive the uncertainty that still lingers. She sets the cup down and presses her forehead against the glass, feeling the chill of the window seep through her skin. The city stretches endlessly, and in it she feels smaller than ever. Alone, though not truly because Adrian exists somewhere out there. His presence lingering like a shadow, she can't shake Dot. The phone buzzes on the table. Her heart jumps. She rushes toward it, only to find a message waiting. I hope you're okay. Simple, unsure, honest. Lena bites her lip, her fingers hovering over the screen. She wants to reply, to tell him how much she misses him, how the silence is killing her. But the words stick in her throat. She can't admit vulnerability, not yet. Not when fear still grips her chest like a vice. Hours later, the rain eases into a drizzle, leaving the city slick and reflective. Lena walks aimlessly, needing movement to dispel the heaviness in her chest. She drifts down streets where the light spills in puddles, the hum of cars and distant laughter filling the void. But the city feels emptier than ever, as though the world itself is echoing the distance between her and Adrian. She stops at a small park, the benches wet and glistening. Sitting down, she tucks her knees to her chest and listens to the silence. Every sound leaves trembling in the wind, a dog barking far off. The faint hum of a streetlight feels painfully amplified. A voice breaks the stillness. Lena? She looks up. Adrian stands a few feet away, his hands shoved into his pockets, jacket damp from the drizzle. His hair is plastered to his forehead, but his eyes are steady, searching. The sight of him makes her chest ache, part longing, part fear. She stands, words catching in her throat. Hi, he replies softly. The distance between them is measured, careful, like neither wants to step too close yet. Lena's gaze drops. I didn't know if I should reach out. I didn't either, he admits. But I couldn't stay away. They walk together in silence, the wet leaves crunching underfoot. Every step feels deliberate, hesitant. The city feels smaller with him here, the lights warmer, though the ache in her chest remains. I've missed this, Adrian says finally, his voice low. Even the silence, even the tension. I've missed being near you. Lena swallows, her throat dry. I've missed it too, but I don't know if I can stop being scared. He stops and turns to face her, rain dripping from his hair onto her sleeve as she steps closer. Fear is only natural, he says, but we can't let it win. Not when we could have something real. She searches his eyes, finding sincerity there, a patient warmth that invites her to trust. But doubt claws at her, sharp and insistent. What if I can't? What if I push you away before we even have a chance? Adrian tilts his head, a sad smile touching his lips. Then I'll be here anyway, waiting, because I don't believe in giving up on what matters. Her chest tightens, her pulse racing. For a moment, the world shrinks to the space between them, the rain, and the quiet confession in his voice. And then the doubt resurfaces, bitter and insistent. Memories of the past rejection, betrayal, abandonment flood her mind. She takes a step back. "I'm scared I'll ruin it." "You won't," Adrian insists, taking her hands in his. His touch is grounding, steadying, yet gentle enough to let her retreat if she needs to. "Not if you let me in. We can be scared together, or not at all." Her eyes glisten, the edges of tears threatening. The vulnerability she's fought to hide trembles beneath her ribs. And yet, the warmth of his hands, the unwavering certainty in his eyes, begins to melt the ice around her heart. But pride, stubborn and sharp, raises a wall. "I can't." "Not yet." He nods, his own breath trembling slightly. "Then I'll wait. No pressure. No expectations. Just me here." Lena wants to believe him. She wants to lean into the safety he offers, to let go of the past and step forward. But the fear of heartbreak still holds her frozen, making each step toward him feel like a gamble. The wind picks up, tugging at their jackets and hair. The city hums around them, cars passing, distant voices, but between them, a delicate tension lingers. Words unspoken, gestures half-made, glances that speak volumes fill the space. She wants to speak, to bridge the gap, to reach out. But all that comes out is a whisper. "I don't want to hurt you." "You won't," Adrian replies softly. "Not if we do this together." She closes her eyes, letting the warmth of his words sink into her. A single tear slips down her cheek, but she doesn't wipe it away. It's a start, a fragile step forward dot for a brief moment. It feels like they could close the distance entirely. Then her phone buzzes in her pocket. She ignores it, but the vibration jars her, and she feels the old fear creeping back, responsibility, the weight of uncertainty, echoes of past abandonment. Adrian notices her hesitation. "It's okay," he murmurs. "You don't have to answer it now." "Not here, not yet." The gesture, the patience, the understanding, it hits her like sunlight after a long storm. She wants to throw herself into his arms, to surrender to the possibility of love. Yet the past whispers that it's dangerous to trust too soon. The silence stretches again, but this time it's different. It's not empty. It's charged, alive with what could be, what might be, what is waiting if courage wins over fear. They walk side by side in the misty rain, shoulders brushing, hearts straining against the distance that still exists. Every unspoken word, every trembling glance, builds a quiet intensity neither can ignore. Lena finally breathes, the chill in her chest softening slightly. She knows the city, the night, the rain, they are witnesses to the fragile bond they're nurturing. A bond that could be broken by fear or strengthened by courage. And she realizes, with a mixture of terror and hope, that love isn't the problem. It's the bravery to reach across the silence, to fight for connection, to risk the ache in exchange for the warmth that waits on the other side. The city erupts in rain without warning, the sky dark and turbulent, as if reflecting the turmoil in Lena's chest. She dashes from her apartment toward the subway station, umbrella forgotten, hair plastered to her forehead. The world is a blur of neon and water, streets shimmering with reflections that ripple beneath each footstep. "Lena?" The voice cuts through the storm like a thread in the chaos. She freezes, heart lurching, and turns to see Adrian emerging from the downpour, rain soaking his jacket, hair clinging to his face. His eyes lock on hers, wide, raw, searching. I didn't expect," she begins, but words falter as he closes the distance, his presence warm amidst the chill of the rain. "You can't run from me," he says softly, water dripping from the brim of his hood onto her shoulder. "Not today. Not anymore." Her chest tightens, fear warring with desire. I wasn't running. You were," he interrupts, taking her hands in his. His touch is electric, grounding, pulling her into the moment. Running from what we both feel, but neither of us admits. Lena swallows hard. She wants to retreat, to take a step back, to hide in the comfort of her own solitude. But the ache in her chest, the longing for his nearness, anchors her to the spot. "I'm scared," she whispers, voice trembling over the patter of rain. "Scared I'll ruin it. Scared I'll push you away before we even have a chance." Adrian tilts his head, the corners of his mouth tugging into a small, tentative smile. "Lena, do you know how many times I've waited for you? How many nights I've replayed every laugh, every glance, every word we never said?" She shakes her head, tears mixing with the rain, streaking down her cheeks. "Too many times," she admits, voice breaking. "And I've been terrified that you'd give up on me like everyone else. You think I could?" His voice is incredulous, tinged with hurt. "Lena, I've never been like them. I'm not leaving. I don't care about the fear, the past, the walls you've built. I care about you. That's all I've ever cared about." The words hit her like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. For a heartbeat, she wants to believe them completely, to surrender to the warmth of his conviction. But the old instinct, the one honed through years of rejection, whispers caution. I don't know if I can trust that," she confesses, stepping closer, rain plastering her hair to her cheeks. "Not yet. Not fully." Adrian cups her face gently with his hands, thumbs brushing her wet cheeks. "Then start small," he murmurs. "Let me in a little. Let me stay. Let me prove that I'm not leaving. That I won't." The sound of rain intensifies, drumming against their shoulders, the cityscape around them fading into a blurred watercolor of light and water. In this cocoon, the world narrows to the space between them, the tremor of her hand in his, the vulnerability in her eyes. She inhales sharply, feeling the tremor of courage she's been hiding for days. I think I'm ready to try," she whispers, a tremor in her voice betraying both fear and hope. Now Adrian smiles, the corners of his eyes crinkling despite the rain. "Good," he says simply, leaning closer. "Because I've been ready for you for a long time." The words, raw and unguarded, brush against her soul. For a moment, she closes the distance herself, letting herself truly feel the warmth of his presence, the sincerity in his gaze. The city fades further, until it's just them, standing in a rain-soaked world that feels impossibly intimate. "I love you," he confesses suddenly, the words rushing out with the urgency of the storm around them. "I love you, Lena. I've loved you since the first day we met, since the first moment I realized you weren't like anyone else. I've been waiting for you to let me in, and I can't wait any longer." The confession hits her like a lightning strike. Her chest tightens, tears falling freely now, mixing with the rain. She wants to speak, to deny, to protect herself, but the truth sits heavy in her heart. I love you too," she breathes, voice shaking. "I've been too scared to say it. Too scared that love would end the way everything else has." Adrian leans forward, brushing his lips against her forehead, a gentle, grounding touch. "It won't," he whispers. "Not if we fight for it. Not if we do this together." For a long moment, they stand in the rain, hands entwined, breathing in unison, letting the storm around them echo the tumult inside. Every fear, every doubt, every scar feels both heavier and lighter in this fragile embrace. Lena lifts her face to his, water dripping from her lashes. "It's messy," she admits, smiling through tears. "And it's scary. It's real," he counters softly, brushing a wet strand of hair from her face. "And sometimes, messy is exactly what love should feel like. Not perfect, not clean, just real." A flash of lightning illuminates the city, thunder following closely. The rain intensifies, hammering down around them, yet neither flinches. Instead, they step closer, pressing foreheads together, letting the storm outside mirror the storm in their hearts. Lena laughs softly, a sound that breaks the tension and blends with the patter of rain. I can't believe it. After all this time, we're finally saying it. Finally letting it out. Adrian smiles, brushing his nose against hers. I've been saying it in my heart for days, for weeks. Every time we were apart, every moment of silence, it's all been filled with these words I couldn't wait to tell you. She leans into him, warmth against the chill of the rain. I don't want to lose this, she whispers. You won't, he assures her, voice low and steady. I won't let you go. Not now, not ever. The city around them hums with life. Rain bouncing off the streets, neon lights reflecting off puddles. Yet in this small bubble, there is only the sound of their breathing, their hearts beating in tandem, their fingers laced together. For the first time in days, the fear that had held her captive begins to lift. The rain washes over them, soaking clothes, hair, and skin, but it also seems to wash away layers of doubt, leaving only the fragile, trembling spark of trust and desire. Adrian leans closer, whispering, We're messy. We're scared. But we're together. And that's what matters. Lena nods, letting herself believe, letting herself feel, letting herself be vulnerable, just this once. She presses her lips to his in a tentative, rain-soaked kiss, the world shrinking to the taste of his mouth, the warmth of his hands, the certainty in his embrace. Time stretches. The city blurs into watercolors. Every drop of rain becomes a drumbeat to their confession, a rhythm marking the moment when silence ends and truth takes its place. And yet, even in the surrender, even in the honesty and love, there is a tremor, an unspoken acknowledgement that the storm outside is nothing compared to the storms of the past that still lurk in shadow. Morning sunlight filters through gauzy curtains, catching droplets from the night's rain on the windowsill. The city outside hums quietly, washed clean, reflective, alive. Inside, the apartment small, imperfect, but theirs is a cocoon of warmth. Lena moves barefoot across the wooden floor, brushing a damp strand of hair from her forehead. Adrian stands at the counter, pouring coffee, steam curling into the soft light. He glances at her, eyes crinkling in that way she's grown to love, a subtle smile hinting at unspoken joy. Morning, she murmurs, voice still thick with sleep and last night's vulnerability. Morning, he replies, handing her a steaming mug. Their fingers brush, electric and familiar, and she can't help the small laugh that escapes. I was afraid you'd vanish again while I was making breakfast. She leans against the counter, sipping the coffee, warmth spreading through her chest. Not this time, she says softly, eyes meeting his. I don't want to run anymore. Adrian steps closer, closing the space between them until their shoulders brush. Good, he murmurs, because home isn't about walls or even streets. It's about where you feel safe, where you feel loved. Her gaze drops to the floor, a blush rising in her cheeks. And I guess I've finally found it. He tilts her chin up gently, a smile tugging at his lips. We've found it together. The apartment is modest, a mismatched couch, a small kitchen, stacks of books lining shelves, but it hums with life now. The air carries the faint scent of rain and coffee, a new rhythm, a sense of belonging. For the first time in a long time, Lena doesn't feel like an outsider in her own story. Adrian moves to the window, brushing the last droplets from the glass. Look at that, he says, nodding toward the city streets, now glistening in sunlight. The world keeps moving, but it feels different somehow, doesn't it? She follows his gaze, seeing the wet pavement reflecting neon remnants from the night, children splashing through puddles, and a couple laughing under a shared umbrella. It does, she whispers, like we're part of it now, not just watching from the sidelines. Adrian turns toward her, eyes soft, earnest. We've built something here, Lena. Not a mansion, not perfection, but a place that's ours. A home we choose every day. Her fingers brushes, tentatively, and then linger. And it's okay if it's messy? She asks, if we're messy? Messy is real, he says, voice low, steady. It's love that's lived, not love that's imagined. It's okay. I want it all with you. The laughter, the mistakes, the quiet mornings, the storms we survive together. She smiles through tears, leaning into him. I want that too. I want. You, S. Their hands intertwine. Palms pressed together as if sealing a silent promise. Outside, the city buzzes on, oblivious to the tiny universe of warmth and hope they've created in a small corner of it. They spend the morning unpacking, tidying and arranging the apartment, small rituals of claiming their shared space. A framed photograph from a distant trip forgotten in a box finds its place on the shelf. A plant, neglected but still alive, is set near the window where the sun can nurture it. Every gesture, every shared task, strengthens the bond between them, a tangible weaving of their lives. Do you think we'll ever feel like we belong anywhere else? Lena asks quietly, placing a pillow on the couch. Adrian wraps an arm around her shoulders, holding her close. Belonging isn't a place, it's a feeling. And we carry that with us. Wherever we are, as long as we're together, we're home. She rests her head against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. The rhythm is grounding, a melody she never wants to end. Then home really is where the heart is, she whispers. Yes, he murmurs, brushing her hair back. Wherever we choose to be, as long as it's together. Later, they sit on the couch, knees brushing, sharing a quiet lunch. Laughter spills between them easily, lighter than it has in months. Adrian recounts a minor mishap from his morning, and Lena bursts into uncontrollable giggles, her hands pressing over her mouth as tears streak her cheeks. He laughs with her, eyes shining with delight, reveling in the simplicity of the moment. I haven't laughed like this in so long, she says finally, leaning against his shoulder. It feels safe, real. That's what I want for us, he says softly. A place where we can be fully ourselves. No walls, no pretenses, just us. The afternoon stretches into evening, golden light filtering through the windows. They move around each other, a dance of comfort and familiarity, knowing gestures, shared glances, the quiet intimacy of presence. I think, Lena says hesitantly, I'm ready to forgive myself. Adrian looks at her, curious, patient. Forgive yourself for what? For leaving, she whispers. For doubting us. For being scared. He shakes his head, pulling her into a tight embrace. You never did anything wrong. You were just human. And you're here now. That's what matters. That's the choice that counts. She rests against him, breathing in his warmth, feeling the solidity of his promise. Then we really are building something, she murmurs. Something lasting. Yes, he agrees, voice low, certain. And every day we'll choose it. Even when it's hard. Even when fear tries to creep in. We'll choose each other over and over. They move to the balcony, watching the city bathe in the last glow of sunset. The lights flicker on gradually, mirroring stars in the darkening sky. Adrian holds her hand tightly, as if to anchor both of them to this moment, this shared feeling of belonging. Home, Lena whispers. It feels like this, like love and laughter and safety and us. Adrian presses a gentle kiss to her temple. Home isn't just a place, he says. It's this feeling. And as long as we carry it together, we can face anything. The city continues its endless hum below them, indifferent to the small miracles of connection above. And yet, For Lena and Adrian, the world has been transformed. Every step, every choice, every glance toward one another has built a new life rooted not in blood ties, not in obligation, but in love, in courage, in the home they choose every day. Lena leans into him again, warmth spreading through her chest. I think I finally understand what it means to belong. Adrian smiles, resting his head against hers. Then we're both home, he whispers. The locks that once closed them out are gone. Open doors, laughter, and the warmth of chosen family replace the cold echoes of rejection. The past may linger in memory, but it no longer dictates the present. Together, they have created a sanctuary, fragile yet strong, built of love, trust, and the courage to choose each other over and over. And as the city lights shimmer and the night settles, Lena and Adrian stand side by side, hands intertwined, hearts aligned, ready to face whatever storms or sunrises the future brings, knowing that home isn't a building, but a bond, and they have found theirs.